welcome to After the 80 Intrust Super Cup edition. I'm your host, Terry Pascoe. On today's show, we'll take a look at round 21 of the Intrust Super Cup. We'll also catch up with North Devils coach Rohan Smith. And we'll also have a look at our new segment. It's called The Fifth and Last. Joining me on the panel each and every week is Anthony Bomber Breeze and John Devine from Calling All Sports Brisbane. And if you'd like to join the discussion, you can jump onto Facebook and Twitter. Just search After the 80 TV. And you can also download our video podcast from iTunes. Round 21 of the Intrust Super Cup has just finished. And if you thought you worked out how the competition was going, they throw up results exactly like this. Gents, what do we think? New top 8 or new top 6, well 5 and 6 is changed, but you know, Ipswich over the Falcons and Pride over Capras.
Yeah, it's an interesting result. Obviously, the Dolphins and the Colours is that 1 point. So the Dolphins now had that little 1 point. They can just get over the top of someone like Burleigh. And as we know, the top 1 and 2 they play off for the grand final, get a home final. But as for mine, the top 6, I think we'll talk about it shortly. It's already set there. But and the other highlight of the weekend is obviously that the Black Hawks going down to the Devils.
Well, that's right. Also, Burleigh and Wynnum. I think that, Bomber, you thought that was all one-way traffic.
Yeah, well, that's right there. Obviously, Burleigh haven't been travelling well the last couple of weeks, but obviously a good win for them. And like John just said before there, Redcliffe have a perfect opportunity to join them back up on the top of the ladder with the Black Hawks losing, but obviously the Cutters, they haven't thrown in the towel, have they?
They haven't. Let's have a look at our first game on today's show. It's Ipswich Jets and Falcons. This one was at North Ipswich Reserve on Phoenix Media Hub, both on radio and TV. But what a spectacular game. It was a end-to-end stuff. I didn't see it going this way. I mean, there was first 20 minutes, there was 5 tries. We see the first one here from Justin Olam, and then I think off a knock on there. But then it just interesting decisions there. But you know, you also look at Michael Purcell here, the kangaroo catcher.
Most exciting player in the league, this bloke.
And you know, Harry Grant coming back into the Intrust Super Cup side with Riley Jackson and Billy McConaughey. I mean, half time it was 22-12, and Bomber, I know you weren't there at the ground. You were with your beloved Eels, enjoying the corporate boxes, but you must have been excited when you saw this.
Yeah, no, I was getting the updates there, and obviously the first half, like you said, it seesawed up and down there, and at half time, obviously they were down 22-12, and the Jets haven't really had that good a record coming home this season there, but obviously they did put it together. We just saw a good try there to Riley Jacks. So
we're seeing some real fancy football this year. I think it was last week, it was Ipswich Jets where they had a flick pass, round the back pass to Mum and Barber, and speaking of which, I think it's coming up next. I think it's this one. Mum and Barber breaks the record. No, it wasn't this one.
Yeah,
that's not Mum.
That was Husky Tautai's try there.
But Mum and Barber breaking the all-time try-scoring record.
Yeah, well, he broke the Duck, Donald Malone's record there at the Jets there. So obviously, congratulations to Mum there. He's a brilliant finisher there, and considering he had a year away from the Jets there and he broke his ankle, he's done very good.
Now, Harry Grant, huge 46 tackles in this game. From you seeing him play, so not a bad little handy hooker, is he?
Harry Grant is an outstanding hooker at the moment. He obviously works well behind a pretty good pack there, but Harry Grant is given a licence by Cadence to do what he likes, basically. Link up with his backs or go with his forwards. But for Harry Grant, since he's burst on the scene now, he's probably been the cornerstone for the Falcons' resurgence along with the Jackses as well. So he needs to fire at the back end of the season along with the rest of the Falcons, otherwise their season's gone for 2018.
Well, that was going to be my next question to you guys. Is this it for the Falcons, or do you think they still have a chance? I mean, that the top 10 has to be squashed down to the top 6. You can't have everyone in there. I mean, I know that try sparked the Sunny Coast to try and run home, but they couldn't get it. But do we say that the Falcons season's gone?
Oh, we know Trigger pretty well. So remember the Falcons are last year's grand finalists. They only lost the premiership in the last 2 minutes of the game there. So you're right, for the Falcons, you're in all sorts of strife. But I'd be interested to see how the Falcons change their style of footy. It's catch-up footy from now. Once upon a time, they were a front runner.
Yeah, well, I said last week, I said the loser of this game was out. And
I think you're right.
I'll stay. The Jets are alive still, barely, but I think it's any case of gone.
I was just wondering if you said that if Ipswich lost, it might have been a bit. Oh, there's still a chance.
Well, I said last week the afterburner was flaming. There's a bit more flame coming out of the back of the Jet at the moment. So.
All right. Now, the game that you liked as well was the Townsville loss.
Blackhawks Devils. Yeah. Well, I like this game because I thought the Blackhawks are the team to even beat in the premiership there, and I thought they would have went down there and just consolidated their position on the top of the ladder there, heading in. But North's just come to play with the addition of Todd Murphy, obviously from his arm injury. Obviously he adds a lot to him there, and he scored a nice try early there, and they got a bit of a roll on there, but you can't take anything away from the Blackhawks, can you?
No, that's right. And we'll speak to Rohan Smith from the Devils shortly. But you'd be proud if you're a coach for the Blackhawks. We talked to Christian Wolf last week, but seeing Jalen Feeney here backing up, still quite impressive.
Yeah, well, that's right there. Like you said, Norths were basically needed to win this game there, and obviously playing at home there. Riley Leota had another strong game, and obviously the halves, like we said, Murphy and that back in there just seemed to give North another gear.
Half time it was 10-8. John, was this a huge surprise to you?
I think the worst thing that could happen to the Blackhawks was for East to give North a touch-up, and that sort of sparked North's at home against Townsville. They had to win that game, as Bomber said. But I think obviously the halves combination, with Murphy back as well. But some great tries. That's Townsville, traditional Townsville football. But that's a lot of belief for North now. And I think they came to this game. It was a home game. Pollock, we see Alex Bishop there. Once he's on fire at hooker, Alex Bishop goes missing sometimes. But once he's on his game, he can find forwards and put them over the line. And I think for mine, Norths are definitely not dead and buried. And for Townsville, whoever Townsville play next this weekend, they'll be saying, look what North did to us, and I think Christian Wolf will respond this week after that loss.
Well, I think it's the top of the table clash this week. So the Townsville going up in Redcliffe and Redcliffe drawing with Mackay. That could go anyway. But I'm about to see here Jack O'Hearn kicking the field goal in 66th minute. Probably was a good move, but I think it sort of sparked something in a comeback for the Blackhawks because it wasn't too far after that field goal that Townsville were putting points back on the board.
Well, I think they just wanted to obviously get that more than 6 ahead, because more than 6 ahead, it's obviously a 2-score play there. But you can never write the Blackhawks. They're a team of stars.
Who can kick a field goal with only 9 metres of turf?
I was going to say,
that's outstanding.
Sandwich.
I was going to say, I see you come out and be McCaddy, but that was outstanding.
Sandwich.
And you wouldn't have guessed it either. You would have thought it was going to go further back, and great effort.
And this try here as well, this shows the speed of Zach Sento as well. Like, he's incredible, and he's just too quick, and you can't defend speed, can you?
No, you can't. And this was the first time that Norths have beaten the Blackhawks since they've entered the competition. So they've had years of heartache, and now they've finally got a win.
No more important than that one.
That's correct.
All right. Now, the game that took your interest, John, was Redcliffe versus Mackay. It was 16-all draw. You could probably argue that this wasn't Redcliffe's greatest game.
It's probably the game they needed to take it out, the old cliche, the game they wanted to, if they're going to lose it now, and that'll kickstart. Obviously, they've got the Blackhawks next week. But the thing I like about this game is that 21 minutes before the Cutters actually leaked a try, and it was all because of that man, Chris. What a great dummy, showed his class. He had to break this game open. But for mine, the Cutters forward pack, led by this man here, the General Grant. Look at that. He just busts through, runs at the halfback in Cullen, between the two shoulders, and he goes over and scores a try. As the Cutters are getting close to the line, they're using their big men. They've got a massive forward pack. They've obviously got Lock and Coot out the back. It's just outstanding what they can do with a forward pack close to the line.
You said that with Cullen. I think his defence is normally pretty good, so it was a bit unusual to see him just be a bit of a turnstile in that
Terry,
case.
I'll put you up against General Grant that close to the line. And
Look at the size of the boy there.
Exactly right. So you can get in his way. He might take you to the try line, but it's a good ploy there. And he is running at pace there, Grant. But Cullen, that's not his job as halfback. That's a forward's job to stop him.
Now, the other point, this is the first draw of the game, but it was the great escape here with Pearson going over, because it looked for all money that Mackay was going to win this.
Yeah, it was 10 minutes to go and they were down by 10 points here. And look at this for a bounce. I mean, that's just luck. It could have rolled end over end. Cutters get the ball back. They wind down the clock and they come away with the win there. So, and this kick here for the, I would have got it, but... with my bad leg, but that was close. And yeah, congratulations to the Cutters. They're not dead. Steve Shepherd, he's got a side there that can win.
Now, there's a few interesting stats in this game. Redcliffe only completed 68%. I watched most of the game and they looked awful. To be quite frank, Redcliffe looked awful for a second place side. They had a huge opportunity to regain the leadership. I don't want to denote Mackay Cutters because I don't think they're an easy beat, but when you've seen the results recently, Mackay, this is a game Redcliffe should have easily put 40, 50 points on, got a bit more in the for and against and retaken it, but with completion rate of 68%, on top of that, though, the big, huge positive is Jamil Hopewadi, 1 try, 41 tackles and 183 metres.
Yeah, well, as Bomber said, the Dolphins are starting to stumble. They should have, they probably penciled this one in for a win. Whether Adam Mogg changes anything around with that, the stats are, if your completion rate's anything under 80, you're going to lose a game of football. Last weekend when Burleigh took on Winner Manly, Burleigh's completion rate was 90%, and that's just going to win you a game of football any day of the week. So they've got to hang on to the footy. They were at home, greasy conditions under the lights as well, but Adam Mogg won't use that as an excuse, and he'll certainly have the boys pumped this week taking on the Blackhawks.
Well, that's right. It's going to be a huge clash up in Townsville with, the other question I had is, why isn't this game on TV? Why? Like,
don't go there, Terry.
Well, I think they schedule them a lot earlier there. Obviously, the AFL's got terrible problems with their draw. They schedule the whole season with the TV games, and if a team runs bad throughout the season, they obviously don't get on. Like I said, this is the best game. This could be the grand final preview.
That's right. Yeah. And then, remember, it's 1:10 in Townsville. Do you want to play in the heat up there? But obviously, each club's going to get their own Channel 9 games for their sponsors, so that's the way it sort of rolls there. And because most of those sides, from mine, there's only 6 teams left in the competition. Those ones outside will get their last chance to promote their sponsorship and their home ground.
All right, well, all the footage you saw there was courtesy of the QRL media. If you'd like to see all the highlights and interviews from the weekend, please just head to theqrl.com.au. Now let's have a look at the vital competition ladder after round 21. Again, PNG, we haven't talked about it yet, but they knocked off South. Again, I will say that South is on the bench this now, that's them done. I don't see them with performances from the way Norths are playing, East are playing, PNG, Ipswich. You could even throw in Sunny Coast, but I'm also on the side of benching them as well. What are your thoughts?
Mate, you're probably a little bit sus about the Northern Pride. PNG Hunters, yes, nobody's talking about the PNG Hunters, and I think Bomb probably mentioned to us off air that they've only won 2 away games, but they're coming in at the right end of the season, aren't they? The premiers, and I think they'll sneak into the 6th.
Yeah, well, like you said on the other page, teams running 4, 5, and 6 and 7 there are all informed. They're all winning too. So, but unfortunately, one of them's got to miss out.
Yeah, for and against will kill them.
So, well, for and against, obviously, the better for and against you got, obviously, that's going to, I'd say, play a big part.
Well, we look over and we can have a see that, like I said, Norths are just on the fringe on 24. You would probably say Falcons and Ipswich. Like again, Falcons, I love Trigger. I think he's such a great person, but I just don't see them playing. They haven't been playing consistent footy.
Well, there's only 6 points up for grabs. The maximum points you can get now is another 6 points, so they would move to 28. And we think that's the cut-off point, so that might be where it ends.
North Devils finals hopes are well and truly alive with a solid win against the ladder leaders Townsville Blackhawks. The man who would be on cloud 9 at the moment is Devils coach Rohan Smith. Mate, thanks for your time.
No worries, thanks for having me.
Mate, you must have been impressed with the win this weekend, especially with the return of your playmaker Todd Murphy.
Yeah, I thought it was good team performance. We played well on both sides of the ball for the most part of the game, and I thought from Todd's point of view, after a lengthy layoff, he got the game started well by taking the line on and just sort of went from there.
I guess one of the things that I noticed when you played East is that you were winning the game in the middle of the field. You're making a lot of meters in that crucial parts, but you just weren't able to get over the line. Is that something that Todd brings to the side, that creativeness?
Yeah, certainly. Todd had a few big plays in the game for sure that led to some points, but so too did Troy Dargan, and there was a few good sort of team tries as well that came on the back of an offload from Riley Leota a chain passing, on the left-hand side of the field that ended up in a quality try. So, our kick chase led to a try from Luke Pollock as well. So we had some good contributions through it, across the field.
47 minutes from Sam Tagatese as well. He brings a lot of energy to your side. Does he also bring a lot of experience when you're in your training environment?
Yeah, we see Sam sort of once a week on that last session of the week. But Sam's been with us for a good portion of the season, and he's got a quality sort of demeanour about him. He's a very humble man, even though he's played, a lot of NRL. We've only had Guy Williams and John Pallavi, I think, have played 5 games each a long time ago, and Taggers is the only other NRL player in our group this season. So he sort of commands the respect, but without asking for it. He's a really humble guy, and he just treats himself like he's just another guy. But he's been a real steady influence for our young forwards. A lot of our middle unit guys are young, 20, 21, 22 sort of age group. So he's had a good impact on those guys, and Sam's still got plenty of good footy in him himself.
Hey, mate, the week before you had a bit of a touch-up against the East Tigers, and you're up against the table-topping Blackhawks, obviously a powerhouse. How did you adjust from that loss last week? Did we put it down to the travel to Papua New Guinea the week before? Or how did you dress taking on the Blackhawks? Because they're a quality side, and you beat them at home. They want to make a statement. What did you guys do all week?
Yeah, I felt... we were a little bit out of our rhythm around that trip to PNG in the prep to the weekend away. We missed a session, and then when we returned, we had to give the boys a little bit of time off to refresh, and maybe we were just out of our rhythm a little bit against East. Although I think, like you guys said, in the most part against East, who are a top quality team, we were right in the battle for the most part of that game. Following that game, there was a few sort of technical issues that let us down for a couple of tries in that game. That when the game was in the balance, so we worked on our numbering in D and filling up some space on the keep going, particularly not to get too technical, but we worked hard on that, and we sort of got our defensive line a fair bit more organised against Townsville, and we also just sort of went about our attack with a little bit more purpose and being a little bit more direct, I thought, even though we were still passing the ball quite a bit.
Mate, you're up against the Seagulls this time at BMD Cougar Oval. Last time was at Suncorp Stadium, and they got the chocolates in that one. This weekend, you're up against Winner Manly. You lose a player to the Broncos, and the Broncos drop a player back to Winner Manly. Does that seem fair?
That's the name of the game, isn't it? You always never quite know who's going to end up playing, for the opposition team. There's always a lot of sort of spanners in the works, and teams aren't always 100% accurate with their naming of a team on a Tuesday. So, we'll wait and see. We'll know. We'll watch enough video that we know what Wynnum are about, and then we'll just have to adapt if there's a late inclusion of an NRL star or two.
Obviously, you've got 3 rounds to go. You've got Wynnum, Mackay and then Ipswich. So it's probably not the hardest run home to the finals. That last game, if Ipswich and yourself keep winning, obviously that last game could be the battle for the last spot.
Oh, that's for you guys to look at that in advance. As far as looking at the run in, our season's been tightly fought. Almost every game, whether we've won or lost, has been a good hard game. The 3 remaining opponents actually defeated us in the first round of fixtures. So, we certainly aren't looking at any further ahead than Wynnum and the tough challenge that Wynnum provide. They've got a lot of quality players in their team. And on any given day, I know coaches toss out that cliche, but it's no more relevant in the Q Cup. The IC Intrust Super Cup this year, like how intense and how close it's been. Nobody would Mackay, even a glimmer of a hope against Redcliffe last weekend, and they went very close to getting a result. So that just shows the strength of competition and what a great competition it is. So we're excited about the opposition this week and the opportunity to have a crack against Wynnum and perform better than we did earlier in the season against them.
Obviously, it's first year as coach of a top grade side. How have you found it?
Yeah, I've coached at the equivalent level in New South Wales Cup, and then had a crack at the Bradford Bulls as well, which obviously a different competition. But the first time in the ISC competition, and I've loved it. It's been the first time dealing with part-time players, so that's been an adaptation process, I guess, for me a little bit, but not that hasn't been too difficult, to be honest. I've always had a massive amount of respect for rugby league players at every level. So the fact that guys go to work each day and slog it out, some of them on the job site, and then still come to training and compete and work hard. I've got a lot of respect for those guys. So I've really enjoyed the opportunity to spend time with guys that are got other significant priorities in their life as well as footy.
Rohan, have you found it quite difficult to do, or do you have a preference? I mean, I know a lot of your players like Todd Murphy, Sam Tagatese go and play or train with the Broncos, and you might only get them for 1 or 2 sessions a week. Do you mind that because they bring back experience, or would you prefer to be like a side like Central where they've pretty much got the same roster week in, week out?
I think each club, I've heard a few other coaches speak about it recently, that each club has their own strengths or their own positives, I guess. I don't see the fact that we only see our players 1 day a week, or sometimes we've had a few games this year where we haven't seen certain guys even before game day. That's just part of it. I don't see it as a positive or a negative. It's just that's how it is. That's what if you're the coach of the North Devils, that's what you sign up for. You're an affiliate club to the Broncos, so you have to work in with them, as do Western Valleys in the BRL underneath us, and even our under-20s team at times. They're influenced heavily by what happens from North, which is sometimes influenced by what happens at the Broncos, but other times it's just what's happening in-house. So, I don't see it as a positive or a negative. I think that's just how it is, and we get on with it, trying to create the best environment we can for those Broncos guys when they come back, that they enjoy it. And, with the exception of Sam, or now Gammett's getting his opportunity in the NRL as well, that the other boys aren't too far removed from being a second-tier competition, because they actually, haven't been NRL players. They train with the NRL crew, but they're actually not, established NRL players yet. So they enjoy the opportunity to come back and be part of the team, where during the week they're part of the Renegades on the opposition.
All right, Rohan, thank you very much for your time. It's good to see that you're not blaming the hair loss and the greying beard down to the first year as coaching.
Oh, that's been going since I started coaching. I reckon when I was 21, my first job at the Warriors, a few of the boys were pointing out the line was receding a little bit when I was 21, so it's only gone downhill from there.
All right, mate. Well, good luck on the weekend, and hopefully you get the win up again.
Cheers, guys. Love your work.
Rohan Smith there from the North Devils. Interesting run into the finals they have. Now, we've got a new segment for this show. It's called The Fifth and Last. I'll ask the panel 5 questions, and we've got 5 minutes to give all our answers. So let's get the ball rolling. The inaugural Sivanasiva medal has been announced last week as the competition's new Best and Fairest award. Taking over from the Courier Mail, is this the right call, John?
Look, Petro Sivanasiva, a great player. He played for the Broncos, played for Australia, played State of Origin. When he retired from first class, he went back and played for Redcliffe in the Intrust Super Cup. So, look, he's a great man, a great rugby league. Everybody loves the Petro. I met him a couple of times. He's a lovely guy. Yeah, did he play most of his career in the Intrust Super Cup? You would think not. Are there other contenders? And I don't like saying I don't like that unless I've got a solution. Kieran Lander, Troy Lindsay, Phil Dennis, players have played most of their career in the Intrust Super Cup, are possible candidates as well. But look, Petro Sivanasiva, what a great man.
The Courier Mail medal's been around since 1960. Is this a time to be getting rid of it, or?
I don't like messing with transition, but I haven't got much more to say than what John said. Petro Sivanasiva, nobody's doubting the player that he is and what he has given to Queensland and the ambassador that he is now for rugby league there. But I don't think this was the medal. I'm sure there's something else out there that Petro could have been awarded with. So.
All right, John Devine, you're the Redcliffe coach. Do you choose Trey Fuller over Tony Tamusa?
Trey Fuller, he gives you that X factor. You don't know what's going to come out. It's like you tip a bunch of cockroaches on the table and go anywhere. You don't know where Tony Tamusa is going to go. Trey Fuller. Tony Tamusa is a great finisher on the wing there, but Trey Fuller, he hits the ball at pace. He gets them on the half volley. I've seen him score tries from 5 minutes from his own try line and just weave his way through there. If that's the style Adam Mogg wants, I'm not too sure. He wants probably more structured play from his players, but he's got Jack Ahern, Tony Tamusa, plenty of options, but I'd go with Trey.
Bomber, you're the Ipswich coach. Is Chris Ash, has he secured his position as 5'8"?
Well, he has for the rest of the year. Obviously, the start of the year there, he probably thought he would have been the 5'8", but obviously the Jets acquired Julian Christian from the Broncos under 21s. They did go well early. Then they were lacking in a little bit of form there. Chris Ash went back to the local league. He played halfback for Brothers. Great form in the Ipswich competition, which obviously that's what you want the players to do when they go back to have good form. He had good form there. They've called him up. He's been there ever since, and the Jets have been winning. So obviously he's been a little bit of the X factor, and his passing game is one of the best in Trust.
Now, we've seen the rise of some new boutique stadiums around, it's only just been named that Ipswich may get their own rugby league boutique stadium, but we've got a ground like Dolphin Stadium. Should the Intra Super Cup Grand Final be played at Suncorp?
It's a traditional home. Obviously, the Intra Super Cup, Queensland Cup, way back when it's always been played at Suncorp Stadium. It costs a lot of money for the QRL to host that there. We've tried before. The Ipswich Jets have hosted the final, the Cutters one. It actually used to be played out at Dolphin Stadium, Suncorp Stadium. Parking, travel and all that sort of stuff. Look, for mine, let's go back out to the grounds here. It's a home of the NRL and the Rugby Union. I think Intra Super Cup should go to one of the boutique clubs around the place, and there's plenty of them.
Fair point, and that's probably the biggest thing is atmosphere. I've been to quite a few Intra Super Cup Grand Finals, and going to Suncorp, it seems quite dead, but when we've gone out to North Ipswich Reserve, we've gone out to Dolphin Oval at the time, it's a better atmosphere.
Well, it certainly is. Lang Park's probably one of the best grounds around there, but when you're only putting 10,000 into it, there's no atmosphere at all. So obviously going to Redcliffe, going to Ipswich when the game's up there, like John said, there's enough grounds around now that you could, if you pack that ground with 10,000 people, 8,000 people around that one ground there, the atmosphere on that day for the both teams would be electric. So.
Remember Redcliffe's got great parking out there as well. It's a little way to go there. You can go to the beach afterwards.
That's exactly right. Now, easy question for you, John. Who's your top six?
Easy question. The top six is already set. We've had the ladder there before. For mine, Townsville, Redcliffe, Burleigh, Pride, PNG and East. They're already set in there. What they can do with where they position doesn't really matter because the way the competition goes, 3 plays 6 is elimination. So where you finish in the top, whether it's 3 or 6 doesn't really matter. It's who you come up against. I'd be worried if I was a third place player side. If you're coming up a fast finishing PNG or East, you'd be sweating on the results there. But yeah, that's my 6.
20 seconds or less?
I've got 4 of them in there. Blackhawks will win this week. They'll be the minor premiers. Redcliffe, Burleigh, Pride. PNG will keep their roll going. They'll get the 5th spot, and Ipswich Jets will get the 6th. But if the Jets happen to fold up, North will have that 6th spot.
I got Townsville, Dolphins, Bears, Pride, Tigers, and Rohan Smith will be happy. I got North Devils. So look at that new segment and. Easy. How easy is that, guys?
Oh, outstanding. But no, good. Yeah, it's great this time of the year with 3 rounds to go. We've still got no idea who's going to finish the top 6.
That's right. We're still arguing. All right, now let's have a look at the games this weekend. There's some cracking clashes around. We sort of mentioned before, the TV game is the Ipswich and Capras. I think that may have been a late change because I did think that the Blackhawks-Dolphins game was going to be on TV.
Well, the Blackhawks-Dolphins game is the biggest game on there. Well, the biggest game as in the best teams there. And obviously that'll go a long way to the minor premiership. Like I said earlier there, Blackhawks win there, the minor premiership of the year. If the Dolphins win, obviously they're still in with a chance.
John?
Mate, well, it's interesting. All these sides here are playing against top 6 contenders, the Capras, the Cutters, the Tweedhead Seagulls. All these sides can absolutely ruin the top 6's positions if they come up and if they turn up and play, which we've known all the years they can do. For mine, the game of the round also, apart from the Blackhawks and Dolphins, is the Falcons and the Tigers. Are the Tigers contenders or pretenders? They're up against their old coach in Craig Ignisman. It should be a beauty up there at Sunshine Coast.
Well, that's right. And also Dane Hogan who used to play for East Tigers as well. So that should be an interesting clash. I think the Smokies as well as the Pride. I think they've been playing a little bit under the radar. I mean, they haven't had their star half as in Jake Clifford. He's been playing for the Cowboys, but you'd see he'd be dropping back soon.
And Cutters as well, good win and draw against the Redcliffe last week.
Yeah, playing at home this week.
I'm tossing. I haven't put my tips in there, but the Cutters, geez, they got nothing to lose. They might just throw the spanner in the works for the Pride.
I've given up on my tips, John, so I'm doing so badly it doesn't matter. All right, well, that's all the time we have for today. A big thank you to you both, Bomber,
No worries,
John.
good to be here.
And if you'd like to join the discussions, also with our questions, jump on the comments and leave what you think. If it comes down to where the grand final should be played or what your top 6 is, please just search After the 80 TV and comment away. You can also download our video podcast through iTunes. I'm Terry Pascoe. We'll see you next week.